Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. I almost didn't know what day it was for a second there. Coffee with Chondra. I am joining you straight out of the Heartland this morning and most mornings. So I hope everybody's having an awesome morning. It's gray. I like gray though. As long as we're here, it's a good day. I wanted to tell you a story this morning. It's about a man. It's about a man. Could be a woman, but this is about a man. He was walking with his mentor just down the sidewalk, and his mentor saw a penny on the ground. He bent over to pick up the penny, and his friend said, "Why are you concerned with picking up a penny? You make $50,000 a month." And the mentor said to him, "You know, the penny is money. And my brain doesn't differentiate between a penny and $50,000. It doesn't know. It just knows that money has value. It doesn't understand the difference. And if I pass that penny by, I'm subconsciously telling my mind, I don't need money." I thought this was an awesome story. I heard it on a webinar that I was part of. Well, I wasn't part of it. I was watching it last night, and it was awesome. But this story really stood out to me. And I know growing up, you know, I'm going to refer occasionally to biblical teachings because that's what I believe in. You don't have to believe in that. It's just, you know, I just wanted to bring that up as far as what my thought process was in this. There's a verse that says, "The love of money is the root of all evil." And many, many times it's misquoted as, "The love of money is the root of all evil." We all need money. We all use money. Well, most people in the world. It's not the love of money that I'm talking about here. It's the subconscious cues you're giving yourself in this scenario. And it's not a bad thing to be successful or have money. It's kind of, again, a negative thought process that, well, if they're successful, they must have done something to sell their soul to the devil, or, you know, whatever you believe in. Compromise yourself to be successful. So getting past that thought process is how you become successful. You need to get that out of your mind, because it's not a bad thing to have success, to have money or wealth. I think the word wealth sometimes has a negative connotation, and it's just not. So if you pass that penny on the ground, sometimes I'll see a quarter or whatever, you're telling your mind, well, I don't need that. So you won't see other cues to help you become successful. It's kind of that same mindset as far as whether you are a miser and hoard all of your money, or if you're very giving. If you give, you're telling your brain, again, you have plenty of money, and you start acting like a wealthy person. I have seen this. Occasionally, you know, it's like, oh, you're down to the last $5 in your bank account. I'm sure most people have been there at some point. But you still want to give something, even if it's a small amount. You can give that, and then your mind sees things all over that supports the fact that you do have enough. I don't mean that as being frivolous. I'm not saying act like a wealthy person, like, oh, I'm going to go shopping online every day. It's not what I mean. I just mean to do it in a spirit of giving. And if you've ever listened to Tony Robbins, and if you haven't, Google him, you will find a ton of material. He's a motivational speaker. And he actually, I'm going to say hello to everybody. Morning, Sarah. Morning, Riri. And tell me if I'm not saying that right. Marissa, hope you're having a good morning. Hey, Jason. So I'm talking about money and wealth and the fact it's okay. So Tony Robbins, in many teachings that he has, he recommends giving 10% of your income to charity, whatever charity resonates with you. And kind of a little background of his family was very poor growing up, and he remembered, I was reading a story last night, he remembered a Thanksgiving where they were sitting around the table, they didn't even have the money to buy the food that you might typically have at a Thanksgiving. So they were kind of sitting around, and it was really tense between his parents, because obviously money can do that if you are lacking it, and, you know, stressful. And all of a sudden there was a knock on the door, and there was someone there with food for their Thanksgiving. So he decided right then and there to change his mindset, because his mindset up till that point was that strangers don't care about you, they only care about themselves. And at that point he realized people do care and they do give. So he decided he was going to, at that time the words pay it forward wasn't a phrase, but that's really what it was. Coffee. So he decided, even though he was pretty broke, even at 17, he was going to find the means to feed 2 families. I think that's awesome. And in the story I was reading about him, it said this, and it really resonated with me too. The ability to give when you're in a really financially difficult situation is really freeing. Gives you a sense of freedom. Freedom of fear and knowing that money doesn't control you. It's just a thing. And that's how he defines wealth. Freedom from money controlling you. You're not worried about it. And again, this is when he was lacking money. So letting go of that control even when he didn't have excess. He gave, and this is a quote from him, "I gave when I didn't have anything, and it became natural for me. People say, when I'm rich, I'll give. They're lying. If you won't give a dime out of a dollar, there's no way you're going to give 100 million out of a billion. But if you can do it today, the biggest thing that giving does, it teaches your brain there's more than enough." We can tell our brains things and it'll listen. This is also echoed in the practice of tithing. Some people give 10% to their church, or they give money to the animal shelter or a women's shelter, or whatever your cause might be that resonates with you, that charity. There are a lot of good causes, a lot of people with needs. But don't ignore the cues you're giving to your brain. You can reprogram it, and that will align with your goals. There is a system in your brain, and I'm going to talk about this more on a different time, because it's a whole topic I find to be really fascinating, but it's directly related. It's called the RAS. RAS. Maybe I'll tell you about it this afternoon. And it is understanding those cues you're sending to your mind all the time. Because you can either do it passively and not understand what you're doing, or do it assertively and align it with your goals. And a lot of people call this, oh, I'm going to act abundant and the universe will know and it'll send back to me. Well, this is the scientific reasoning behind that. It's not quite as mystical as that. Sorry to burst anybody's bubble if that's the case, but it's actually a system in your brain. So don't ignore those cues. Last of all, I wanted to bring up today, just be grateful for everything you have. If you are grateful for the abundance you have, and everybody has a different definition of success, but be content with what you have. That's not saying you can't strive for more, but your brain is knowing that you're grateful, and it will continue to be grateful if your brain, if you keep telling your brain to do things to provide you with more. And we should all be grateful anyway. The short and the long of it is that you shouldn't do things with an attitude that you're doing it for money. Think about that. If you go out and you're in a new business opportunity, or you're doing something for someone and you're thinking, well, what am I going to get out of it? I've heard that said, and it drives me crazy. It's so narcissistic and self-centered. Well, what am I going to get out of it? How about don't think of what you're going to get out of it? Don't think about that with that attitude. Well, I'm going to do it for money, because that's kind of like, well, what am I going to get out of it? Think about, it's going to get a little deep in here. Think about how you live your life and how that can change someone else's life. That is priceless. That's kind of where I wanted to end today. If you live your life like that, money and success will follow, because you have practiced being content and have gratitude, and you're giving your brain these cues that living your life is how you should be, and that will make you a successful person. I hope that resonated with some of you this morning. Appreciate everybody on here today. Good morning, Dan. Hey, Tiffany. Everybody have a wonderful day, and if you did like my video, I think Peter must be on here, but I can't see. Hello, good morning over across the pond. If you do like the video, or if you thought you found some nugget of understanding in it, like, share, or comment, please. I appreciate all of your feedback. Or if you feel like you had a question about something I said, and I will, again, explain the RAS later on. Don't look it up in between. A fascinating topic. But I'll be throwing this on my YouTube channel on YouTube. And I appreciate all of you. Everyone have a great day. And I will catch you in the next video.